Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're starting something a little different, a brand new series called Tea with Amy. While historical facts are great, in Tea with Amy, we'll dive into rumors, folklore, and those whispered legends that rarely make it into historical records. For today's tea, we're looking into a famous Qing Dynasty mystery. Why was Empress Nala, Qianlong's second wife, erased from history? Legends say it is because she committed the shocking sin of cutting her hair. But why does that even matter? To really understand why Nala cutting her hair was such a huge deal, we first need to talk about who she was and what life was actually like inside the Qing imperial court. Nala's marriage to Qianlong wasn't based on romance. It was arranged for politics. She first entered the palace as a secondary consort, spending years carefully working her way up through palace politics. She eventually became empress only after Qianlong's beloved first wife, Empress Xiao Xianchun, passed away. But she didn't step into the role right away. Qianlong was genuinely heartbroken after losing Xiao Xianchun and hesitated to pick a replacement. Eventually, his mother, the powerful Empress Dowager Chongqing, convinced him it wasn't good for the court to leave the empress position empty. She recommended Nala, who was already noble consort Xian at the time, because of her seniority and good reputation. But becoming empress brought enormous pressure, especially with everyone still remembering and loving Xiao Xianchun. So why exactly was cutting hair considered such a shocking thing? In the Qing imperial court, hair wasn't just hair. According to traditional Confucian beliefs, your body was a precious gift from your parents and ancestors. Harming your body, including cutting your hair without a good reason, meant deep disrespect toward them. This significant act of cutting one's hair is often referred to in Chinese as 断发. For Manchus, performing 断发 carried an especially grave meaning related to imperial figures. It was allowed only when mourning the death of an emperor or empress dowager. To do it while they're still alive meant you were essentially wishing them dead. Beyond this primary and severe Manchu taboo, the act of 断发 by a woman also resonated with a broader cultural understanding across China at the time. In this wider context, a woman dramatically cutting her hair could powerfully symbolize a severing of personal ties. It was often interpreted as a gesture of 断发绝情, meaning cutting hair to sever affections, effectively meaning a self-declared divorce. If Qianlong publicly accused his own empress of an act so layered with horrific meanings, it could have caused a massive scandal and hurt the imperial family's image. And that's why, in official documents like Qing Shilu, it only vaguely referred to Nala's act as misconduct. Also, Qianlong took Manchu traditions extremely seriously, so Nala's haircutting was more than just a personal insult to him. It directly challenged the traditions and rules that he valued the most. So what would have made an empress take such a huge risk and do something this drastic? One popular theory points directly to jealousy and rivalry, fueled by Emperor Qianlong's reputation of being a player. He was well known for fickle affections, often becoming deeply infatuated with certain consorts, but only briefly. Consorts who were favored one moment could quickly find themselves cast aside when someone new caught his eye. Nala saw this happen again and again inside the imperial harem, and it probably made her deeply insecure. According to unofficial accounts, this insecurity exploded during the southern tour with Qianlong in 1765, when she learned he planned to bring new local beauties, possibly Han Chinese women, back to the palace. For an empress already worried about losing the emperor's attention, this could have felt like the ultimate humiliation, pushing her towards that desperate act. And this wasn't just a vague fear, because around that time, another woman was clearly gaining favor, Consort Ling. Some of you might be familiar with her. She is the historical figure behind the popular C-drama character Wei Yingluo, while our main character today in this video, Empress Nala, is the historical figure behind Ru Yi. What's especially fascinating about Consort Ling was her Han Chinese origin. So her rise to great court influence within the Manchu-led Qing dynasty was a rare and incredible achievement. Perhaps we can dive more into her full story in another tea video. By the time Nala cut her hair, Consort Ling had clearly won over Qianlong's favor. She had given him multiple children, including possible heirs, and was steadily rising in the ranks. Imagine how Nala must have felt, watching another woman gradually gaining everything that should have been hers. Especially when Qianlong favored his previous empress Xiao Xianchun on an exceptional level. Some legends suggest that this jealousy and insecurity played a major role behind Nala's shocking decision. Maybe in her eyes, cutting her hair wasn't just an emotional reaction. It might have been an attempt to publicly reclaim her dignity or make Qianlong acknowledge how she was being treated. Another powerful theory behind Nala's shocking haircutting involves something even deeper than jealousy, a mother's instinct. In the Qing imperial court, an empress's security depended not only on her personal relationship with the emperor, but also on the status and influence of her children. Nala had a son named Prince Yongqi. Even though he was technically an imperial prince, historical records show Yongqi didn't get much attention from his father. Compared to his half-brothers, Yongqi had a relatively low rank, and Qianlong rarely gave him important duties or showed him much affection. Seeing her son repeatedly overlooked probably made Nala worried about her family's future at court. In contrast, Consort Ling's son, Prince Yongyan, was clearly favored by Qianlong as the likely heir, watching Yongyan's position become more secure while her own son Yongqi was repeatedly ignored could have pushed Nala to desperation. So perhaps cutting her hair was a desperate attempt to protect Yongqi's future? Rumors even suggested there was a heated argument with Nala begging Qianlong to give her son greater recognition as she was terrified he was about to lose any chance at relevance in the court. From this perspective, Nala's actions were more than just emotional outburst. She might have strategically chosen this dramatic gesture to force Qianlong to notice her and reconsider important decisions about succession. Given how ruthless Qing court politics could get, this clearly shows just how far imperial mothers would go to protect their children's future. There's another theory that was subtly encouraged by Qianlong himself. He suggested that the empress simply lost her mind. In the official edict about the incident, Qianlong vaguely described her behavior as erratic, basically hinting that she was mentally unstable. So could all that pressure, like fear for her own future and anxiety about her son's position, have pushed her into a breakdown? Life in the Forbidden City was incredibly tense and restrictive, so a mental collapse wouldn't have been impossible. But most historians aren't really convinced by the story. Throughout history, both inside and outside imperial China, it's pretty common to label women who speak out or cause trouble as crazy. For example, Empress Hu Shanxiang from the Ming Dynasty was famously accused of unstable behavior to justify removing her from power. This example shows how convenient it was for palace officials to use accusations of madness as an excuse to push someone aside. So perhaps Qianlong was using imperial gaslighting on Nala by portraying her as insane to avoid taking responsibility himself. Whether she truly broke down or this was just a convenient excuse, the idea of madness eventually stuck, hiding the real reason behind Nala's shocking act. The aftermath from Nala's haircutting came quickly, and it showed just how angry Qianlong was. She was immediately separated from the imperial group and forced to return to Beijing by a less prestigious land route instead of the Grand Canal. Although she was never officially stripped of her title on paper, by the time she got back, she had already lost most of her imperial privileges, seals, and personal attendants. Nala spent her final days basically under house arrest within the Forbidden City, isolated and mostly forgotten. Just over a year later, in 1766, she died at the age of 48. When this happened, Qianlong was away on a hunting trip with Prince Yongqi, Nala's son, and didn't seem particularly bothered. Instead of returning himself, he sent Yongqi back to Beijing to handle funeral arrangements while he stayed at the hunting grounds. Nala's funeral was scaled way down to a noble consort's level, nowhere near the grandeur normally given to an empress. She was denied burial alongside Qianlong and Empress Xiao Xianchun. and was instead placed in a much smaller and less important tomb. Even more dramatically, Qianlong ordered nearly all of Nala's official portraits and records to be destroyed, causing even basic facts like her family background to become unclear over time. For example, the Qing Shi Gao, a later historical text known for inaccuracies due to its rushed compilation, identifies her as belonging to the well-known Ula Nala clan. But another source, the genealogy of the Manchu clans of the Eight Banners, a detailed genealogy created during Qianlong's own reign, explicitly placed her in the Huifa Nala clan. It even traced her lineage back to Wang Jinu, a prominent leader from the Huifa region. Adding to the confusion, earlier records like the Qing Shi Lu especially noted about her initial promotions, simply using the more general label Nala clan. This kind of inconsistency across official documents shows how effectively Nala's identity was hidden after her downfall. The confusion about her origin today is a direct result of Qianlong's effort to erase her from history, highlighting just how severe the consequences were once you fell out of favor. So why exactly did Empress Nala cut her hair? Even after centuries of speculation, no one knows for sure. The truth is still hidden, buried with the Empress herself, and intentionally obscured in official records. So what do you think actually happened on that imperial tour? Which explanation makes the most sense to you? And what tea should we spill next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you'd like to help me uncover even more fascinating stories from Chinese history, please consider joining the membership and become a Noble Baoban. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Stay curious, stay magical.